Here's to being free, single, and searching. That was the moment the world stopped. The clinking of glasses, the soft jazz playing in the background, the flickering candlelight, all of it went numb. My wife, Ashley, stood at the head of the table, her wine glass raised, her eyes bright with something wicked, and her voice loud enough for every guest to hear. Her smile wasn't warm. It wasn't affectionate. It was the smirk of someone who just threw a grenade into a room and was waiting to see the explosion. We were at our 10-year wedding anniversary dinner. Not just a dinner, this was an event I had spent weeks planning. A private rooftop, a curated menu, every detail tailored to celebrate our decade together. My best friend Carter flew in from New York, her parents were seated next to mine, and even her college roommate showed up. I thought it would be a night to remember. Well, it was. Just not for the reasons I'd hoped. As she sat down after her toast, she handed me a small box wrapped in gold paper. I opened it, expecting a watch or cufflinks or something symbolic. Inside was a branded T-shirt. White. Bold letters. 10 years of disappointment. I felt my throat tighten. Before I could react, her mom, Linda, lifted her own glass and said, "Here's to Ashley finally living her truth." Her dad, Ron, just smiled and took a sip of his whiskey like he was proud. Everyone else went dead silent. And that's when I stood up. My heart was pounding, my hands were shaking, but I smiled. Calm. Controlled. Every eye turned to me. My voice didn't crack, though everything inside me was shattering. "Well," I said, lifting my glass, "since we're making announcements tonight, Ashley, since you're so excited to be single again, you might want to tell your boyfriend Marcus that the private investigator I hired has photos, videos, GPS logs." The hotel receipts were a nice touch too. Her face froze. The color drained from her cheeks like a faucet had opened. For once in 10 years, she didn't have a snappy comeback. "You all remember Marcus, right?" I continued, addressing the guests. "Our daughter's soccer coach? The guy who's been giving Ashley extra workouts every Thursday night?" "Yeah, that Marcus." Gasps. Actual gasps. Carter covered his mouth. My brother James muttered, "Jesus Christ." Her mom's jaw dropped, and even Ron looked like he'd swallowed glass. I looked right at Ashley. Her expression twisted, like a child caught stealing, but angry you saw them do it. She stood up quickly, knocking over her wine glass. The red liquid spread across the white tablecloth like blood. "You're insane," she snapped. "You don't know what you're talking about." I pulled out my phone. I had airdropped one of the PI's videos to myself earlier, just in case. I tapped the screen and let it play, full volume. There they were, Ashley and Marcus. In his truck. Her climbing over the center console into his lap. It was dark, but their shadows left no mystery. I locked eyes with her. "You gonna tell me this was a coaching session?" The silence was louder than any argument we ever had. She laughed. Loud. Bitter. "You're pathetic, Ethan. You stalk me, spy on me, and now what? You want to embarrass me? You want a medal for being a doormat for a decade?" "No," I said. "I just want everyone here to know who you really are." She grabbed her purse and stormed off the rooftop without another word. Her heels echoed with each step like gunshots. Her mother chased after her, shouting her name. Her father quietly got up and followed, not saying a single word. I sat down slowly, exhaled, and finished my wine. No one said anything for a long time. Then Carter leaned over and said, "Dude, holy sh*T." I didn't respond. My chest felt empty. Not broken. Not yet. Just hollow. I looked out over the city skyline. 10 years. 10 freaking years. And it ended in a toast. But this was just the beginning. Because Ashley thought she humiliated me. She had no idea what I had planned next. I didn't sleep that night. After the rooftop exploded into chaos, I left quietly. No goodbyes, no explanations. Just walked out, got in my car, and drove with no destination in mind. I must have circled the city for hours. At some point, I ended up parked outside a 24-hour diner, staring blankly at the glowing sign while the events replayed in my head like a sick loop. Ashley, her glass raised, her smug face. Free, single, and searching. That T-shirt. 10 years of disappointment. Who does that? I sat in the dark with the engine running and asked myself 100 questions. Was I that blind? That naive? When did she stop loving me, if she ever did? And worse, how long had I been sleeping next to a stranger? Around 3 a.m., I opened my messages and scrolled through the PI's report again. It wasn't just Marcus. There were 2 other names mentioned. One of them, Liam, was someone we had both gone out to dinner with a few months ago. He shook my hand. Told me I was lucky to have a woman like Ashley. I almost laughed. Hell, maybe I did. But it sounded more like choking. When I got home, the house was dark. Her car wasn't there. Good. I didn't want to see her yet. I wasn't ready for the lies, for her crocodile tears, for that manipulative way she always twisted reality. I needed to collect my thoughts first. But as I stepped into the kitchen, something caught my eye. A note. Scribbled quickly. We need to talk. I'll be back later. No apology. No remorse. Just 4 words like she was checking in with a roommate. I stood in that kitchen, staring at the counter where we used to sit every morning, her with her coffee, me with my protein shake. I remembered laughing there, planning vacations, arguing about dumb things like whose turn it was to take out the trash. All of it felt fake now. Like I'd been living in a set and everyone knew except me. That's when I noticed it. Her laptop. Still open. I don't know what came over me. I never snooped before. I trusted her. But now? Now I needed to know. So I sat down, opened the screen wider, and there it was. Her messages were synced. Hundreds of them. The first one that popped up was from Marcus. You looked so good tonight. He didn't deserve you. Can't wait to feel you again. Feel you again. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. My hands were shaking. But I kept reading. Ashley's replies were surreal. Cold. Shameless. She joked about me. Mocked our marriage. Said she only stayed for the house and until the business sells. Said I was boring, that I stopped being a man years ago. One message burned itself into my brain. He's so easy to lie to, it's almost not fun anymore. I don't remember standing up. Don't remember knocking the laptop off the counter. I just remember the sound it made when it hit the floor, plastic and glass snapping like my last nerve. She came home around 9 in the morning. Same dress from the dinner. Hair a mess. Smelled like cheap cologne. She walked in like nothing happened. Oh, you're home, she said, setting her keys down. We need to talk. I didn't move. Just stared at her. Talk? I said. Before or after you text Marcus again? She froze. I saw it happen, the flicker of panic in her eyes. But it vanished quick, replaced by that same defiant smirk. So what? You went through my stuff? Real classy, Ethan. You cheated on me. She rolled her eyes. Rolled. Her. Eyes. Please. You act like you're some saint. Like you've been perfect. You never listened. You never changed. You made everything about your work and your little routines. What did you expect me to do? I expected you not to F*** the soccer coach. Or Liam. Or God knows who else. Her face twisted. She stepped closer. You think you're so righteous? You're pathetic. You're not angry because I lied. You're angry because I had the guts to want more. Something real. Something real. That was it. Something in me snapped, but not in the way she thought. I didn't yell. I didn't break anything. I just smiled. Numb. Hollow. You're right, I said. You do deserve more. And you're going to get it. All of it. Her smile faltered. What are you talking about? I walked past her, up to our room, opened the closet, and pulled out a folder. Inside, copies of everything the PI found. Lawyers' names. My asset protection plan. She thought I was dumb, that I'd roll over. But Ashley forgot. When you betray someone who gave you everything, you don't just lose their love. You wake up their monster. And mine had just opened its eyes. She followed me up the stairs, her heels thudding like gunshots on the hardwood, demanding answers she wasn't ready to hear. What the hell is that? She asked, pointing to the folder I was calmly laying out on the bed. What are you doing, Ethan? I turned around, finally looking her dead in the eyes. This, I said, is the next 10 years of your life. The same ones you were so proud to throw away last night. She scoffed, crossed her arms. Oh, don't be dramatic. You humiliated me in front of our family, Ashley, I said, my voice low but steady. You made a toast to being single. You handed me a shirt that said 10 years of disappointment, like it was some kind of joke. You've been screwing around behind my back for months, maybe years, and now you're mad that I know. She tried to interrupt, but I raised my hand. No, you don't get to talk right now. You've talked enough. Lied enough. I listened to you for 10 years. I fought for us. I gave you everything. And you gave your body, your time, your lies to every man who showed you a little attention. That hit. I saw her jaw tighten. You want to know what's in this folder? I continued, picking it up and flipping it open. Let me walk you through it. I pulled out the timeline. Hotel visits. Photos. Names. Dates. Even the night she told me she was at a spa weekend with her friends, turns out She was at a ski resort with Marcus. Room 312. 3 nights. Look familiar? I held up the photo of her wrapped in a hotel robe, sitting on a man's lap by the fireplace. She didn't say a word. Then I showed her the bank statements. All the hidden transfers from our joint account to her personal one. Thousands of dollars. Fancy lingerie she never wore for me. Ubers to places she claimed she'd never been. I even found the invoice for a private yacht dinner with someone named Chase. I don't even know who the hell Chase is. Finally, I pulled out a single sheet. The divorce papers. I already signed them, I said quietly. And I'll make this easy on you. I won't drag your name through the mud. I won't expose your little flings to your job or your family. As long as you don't fight me on the house and I get full custody. That got her attention. Her eyes snapped up. Custody? You think I'm going to let you take Emma? I felt something cold rise up in my chest. She's not a pawn, I said. And she sure as hell doesn't need to be raised by someone who thinks commitment is optional and lying is just how adults communicate. You can't do this, she shouted. This is my life too, Ethan. You can't just erase me. I stepped forward, just enough that she had to look up at me. You already erased yourself the moment you decided screwing the coach was more exciting than keeping our family together. Her face twisted with something between rage and desperation. For a second, I thought she might cry. But instead, she laughed. A cold, dead laugh. You think any of this is going to make you feel better? She said. You think divorcing me is going to fix how boring you are? You think women are going to line up for a man who didn't see his own wife slipping away for years? I didn't answer. I just picked up the folder and walked past her. At the doorway, I paused. You should start packing, I said without turning around. I'll be back tonight with a moving truck. As I walked out of the house, I could still hear her upstairs, slamming things, muttering curses, calling me pathetic. But I didn't care. For the first time in years, I wasn't confused. I wasn't walking on eggshells. I wasn't guessing what mood she'd be in or pretending like everything was okay just to keep peace. No, I was done. And the fire in my chest was no longer heartbreak. It was clarity. It was freedom. She thought she humiliated me at dinner, but I wasn't even close to finished. I didn't come back that night. Instead, I checked into a hotel. Not some overpriced resort or rooftop fantasy like the one she snuck off to with her boy toys, just a quiet place on the edge of the city. Somewhere I could breathe. Somewhere nobody knew my name or looked at me like that guy who got played by his wife at his own anniversary. I stared at the ceiling for hours. No sleep. My mind raced like it was trying to outrun the last 10 years of my life. Every argument, every excuse she made, every time she pulled away and said she was just tired or not in the mood. All the signs had been there, but I'd swallowed them like poison, convincing myself it was just marriage being hard. Bullshasters T. She wasn't just unfaithful. She was cruel. Calculated. She didn't cheat because she was unhappy. She cheated because she could. Because she thought I'd never find out. Because deep down, she didn't think I'd do anything even if I did. I got up, showered, shaved, and put on the shirt she gave me. 10 years of disappointment. Yeah. Let the world see it. Let them ask. I wanted someone to say something. Give me a reason to unload the truth. But no one said a word. Maybe they saw the look in my eyes. The next morning, I met with the lawyer. We reviewed the case, ironed out the paperwork, and went over the custody details. Everything was in my favor, thanks to her digital trail of betrayal and the evidence that left little room for her to play victim. The lawyer, a no-nonsense woman named Diane, looked through the files, then looked at me and said, "You've been way too patient. Let's fix that." By the afternoon, the moving truck was at the house. I didn't go inside. I sent Carter. He walked in, told her to pack only what was hers, and said anything left behind would be considered abandoned property. She lost her mind. Called me 30 times in a row. Left voicemail after voicemail. The first few were furious. "You coward. You couldn't even face me. You think this is over? I'm not letting you take everything." But then they changed. "Ethan, I didn't mean for it to go this far. Can we please talk? You owe me that much." I was confused. We were both distant. Don't throw everything away. That's the thing about women like Ashley. They don't feel guilt until their comfort is threatened. She never apologized because she was sorry. She apologized because she realized I wasn't her doormat anymore. I let her sweat. I spent the rest of the week getting my affairs in order. Changed passwords. Froze joint accounts. Met with Emma's school counselor to prepare her for the storm coming. I wasn't going to tell my daughter the ugly details, but I wasn't going to let Ashley manipulate her either. Then, on the 7th day, Ashley showed up at the hotel. I opened the door and found her standing there, sunglasses on, mascara slightly smudged. No makeup, no fake smile. She looked smaller somehow. Worn. "Can I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside but didn't say anything. She walked to the middle of the room and turned to face me. Her voice was soft now. That fake sharpness she used to weaponize was gone, or at least buried for now. "I know you hate me," she said. I didn't respond. I know what I did. I know it was wrong. And I know it's too late to fix anything, but I need you to know that I wasn't always lying. Not all of it. There were moments I loved you. I just got lost. Lost? I finally said. "You didn't get lost, Ashley. You took a F*********************** ING map and planned the whole route." She winced. "I'm not here to beg," she said. "I just wanted to say goodbye. Properly. Properly." I laughed once, cold and bitter. "You humiliated me in front of everyone I love. That was your goodbye." "I was angry," she said. "I wanted to hurt you because I felt invisible." "You weren't invisible. You were adored. You were trusted. You were everything to me. But I was just a box you checked off." Her eyes welled up, but I didn't care. "Not anymore." "You know what hurts the most?" I asked. "It's not Marcus, or the lies, or that goddamn t-shirt. It's that I spent 10 years trying to be the man you needed, and it turns out you never needed a man. You needed a mirror to admire yourself in." She didn't speak after that. Just stood there, mouth trembling, then turned and walked out. I watched her go. No goodbye. No regrets. And for the first time in a decade, I felt free. The silence that followed was almost sacred. After she left the hotel room, I didn't move for a long time. Just stood there, staring at the door, letting the absence of her presence sink in. The kind of quiet that feels like a deep breath after drowning. The kind you don't interrupt. I didn't cry. Not because it didn't hurt, but because the tears had dried up somewhere between that rooftop dinner and her telling me I was boring. There was no sadness left. Only weight. A pressure that had built for years under the surface, quietly dragging me down, and now, finally, it had lifted. I checked out the next morning. Drove home. My real home now. The one with her clothes gone, her voice gone, her fake little good morning kisses gone. No more perfume lingering in the bathroom after she came back late from girls' night. No more lying eyes asking, "Why are you being so paranoid?" I walked from room to room like I was rediscovering my own life. Opened drawers, cleared out the leftovers of what she left behind, receipts, notes, a pair of earrings that weren't mine to give her in the first place. I dropped them all in a box labeled, "Return to Sender." That night, Emma came home. My little girl, 12 years old and far too smart for her own good. She stepped through the door with her backpack hanging off one shoulder, chewing the end of a pencil, her eyes scanning the living room like she already knew something was different. "Where's Mom?" I knelt down in front of her. "She's staying somewhere else for a while." She didn't ask why. She just nodded slowly and hugged me. Tight. The kind of hug where kids don't need words. They already feel the truth in the air. Later, while she did homework, I sat at the kitchen table, our table, and stared at the divorce papers again. My signature already there, Ashley's still missing. But I knew it was a matter of time. She'd fold. Women like her always do when the spotlight's gone and they have to face their reflection alone. I poured myself a drink, scotch, and held it up. No toast. No words. Just a sip for survival. 3 days later, I got a call from Marcus. I almost didn't answer, but I wanted to hear his voice. Wanted to hear what a man sounds like after he's been exposed, stripped of the lies, the sneaking, the thrill of betrayal. "Ethan," he said. "Look, I don't want trouble. Ashley told me what happened." I laughed. "She tell you I caught her with 2 other guys too? Or just her part?" He went quiet. "I didn't know," he said. "She told me you were separated." "They all say that," I said. "Don't worry, Marcus. I'm not coming after you. You're not the enemy." "She is." He sighed. I ended it. "Good for you. Won a medal. I just thought you should know. I didn't mean for any of this." "No one ever does," I said, and hung up. The next week moved fast. Lawyers finalized the papers. Ashley didn't fight the custody, probably too embarrassed to stand in front of a judge and explain why her marriage ended with hotel receipts and a soccer coach's truck. The house stayed mine. The car stayed mine. Everything stayed mine, except the weight I'd been carrying for a decade. Then came the moment I didn't expect. I was cleaning out the garage when I found an old photo album, stuffed in a dusty box behind the winter coats. Inside, pictures of us. Our wedding day. Vacations. Her pregnant with Emma, smiling, holding hands, eyes full of things that now felt like fiction. I closed the album, sat down on the floor, and stared at the concrete. Maybe it was real once. Maybe, for a while, she did love me. Or maybe I just loved her enough for both of us and she never had to try. Maybe the woman I married died somewhere along the way, and I kept trying to resurrect the ghost. But here's what I do know. I gave everything, and she buried it, mocked it, and still, I came out stronger. Not just free, but awake. Men like me, we don't stay broken. We rebuild, brick by brick. And this time, no one's burning it down. A month passed. You'd think things would feel normal by now. They didn't, but they felt mine. That was enough. Emma started asking more questions. Not directly, she was too smart for that. But they came in side doorways. Why does Mom only call every few days? Are we still a family? Did I do something wrong? Those ones hurt. Cut right through. But I never badmouthed Ashley to her. Never once. I answered what I could, kept it simple, honest. No, sweetheart. You didn't do anything wrong. Mom and I just see things differently now. We're always a family. Me and you. That never changes. And I meant it. Some nights, I'd hear Emma crying in her room. I never asked why. Just went in, sat on the edge of the bed, and let her talk if she wanted. Most nights, she didn't. Just reached out for my hand, and that was enough. Ashley, on the other hand, was unraveling. She tried texting, calling, even showed up at Emma's school one afternoon with gifts and a half-baked smile. I watched from the car, arms crossed, biting my tongue while she tried to play the sweet mother card in front of other parents, people who had all heard what happened. It wasn't a town you could hide things in. Later that evening, she called me again. I miss her, she said, voice shaky. I know I get up. But I want to be there. I want her to know I care. You should have thought of that before you turned our anniversary into your personal comedy show, I said flatly. I didn't know it would go like that. Yes, you did. You wanted it to go like that. You wanted to humiliate me, Ashley. And now you're shocked it didn't work out the way you imagined in your twisted little head. Silence on the line. I'm still her mother, she said. Then act like it. Show up. Be consistent. Don't buy her off with cheap presents and hollow hugs. She won't even talk to me. Because kids know. Even when they can't say it, they feel it. You think she didn't notice you coming home late smelling like a man who wasn't me? You think she didn't see the way you looked at your phone and smiled, but never smiled at us? Ashley started crying, but I didn't flinch. I had nothing left for her. No pity. No softness. Goodbye, Ashley. I hung up. The peace after that call was strange. Not satisfying, not bitter. Just clean. Like finally washing off something sticky you didn't realize had clung to your skin for years. That weekend, Emma and I went hiking. Just us. Packed a lunch, brought our camera, spent the day out in the open air. It was the first time I saw her laugh and mean it in weeks. She ran ahead on the trail, shouting back facts about birds and trees, trying to impress me with things she learned in school. I played along, cheered her on, took photos. At the top of the hill, we sat on a rock and watched the sun start to dip behind the trees. I like this better, she said. Just us. I looked at her. She was so much like me it scared me, quiet, observant, soft-hearted, but with a fire in her if you looked close enough. I like it too, I said. She turned to me. Are you happy now? I thought about that. Really thought. And for the first time in years, I didn't have to lie. Yeah, I said. I think I'm starting to be. The next day, the divorce was finalized. Ashley didn't show up in court, just had her lawyer sign off and send it through. I sat there alone, listening to the judge's voice drone on, stamping the papers, declaring our marriage officially dead. 10 years erased with the thud of a file hitting a wooden bench. But it didn't feel like a funeral. It felt like a release. Later that night, I lit a fire in the backyard, poured a drink, pulled out the shirt, the one with 10 years of disappointment, and threw it into the flames. Watched it curl and blacken, the letters burning away like they were never real. That shirt was meant to shame me, humiliate me. But now, it was just kindling. Like her words, like her love. Burned, gone, nothing but ash. And I sat there smiling, not because I'd won, but because I survived. A few weeks went by, and the whispers faded. The neighbors stopped staring when we took out the trash. The people at Emma's school no longer looked at me like a walking scandal. Ashley had gone quiet, probably licking her wounds, hiding behind her filtered Instagram stories where she posted photos with captions like, "Healing is messy but beautiful," over lattes and yoga mats. The same woman who toasted to being free and single now tried to sell the image of a broken bird learning to fly again. She could fool the world, but she'd never fool me again. One afternoon, I got a letter from her. A real one, paper, envelope, stamp and all. Inside was 2 pages of carefully crafted regret. Not a single real apology, of course. Just poetic little sentences like, I never meant to hurt you, and we grew apart, and I needed to find myself. At the bottom, she wrote, I hope one day you'll remember the good in me. I didn't reply. I tore the letter in half and dropped it in the shredder. Because I remembered the good. That was the problem. I remembered how she used to fall asleep on my chest. I remembered how she used to call me her best friend. I remembered how she used to kiss me like I was the only man she could ever want. And now? Now those memories felt like a trick. A stage performance. And I'd been the fool clapping in the front row. Carter came by that weekend. He brought beer and silence, which was exactly what I needed. We sat in the backyard, the grill going, Emma playing with the dog nearby, and we didn't say much for a while. Then he finally looked over and said, You're different. How so? Lighter. Like a guy who finally put down a backpack full of bricks. I nodded, staring at the flames under the meat. I was carrying something that wasn't mine to hold. She reached out to me, he added, almost like he didn't want to say it. I glanced over. Yeah. Said she misses our group. Said she's sorry if she made things awkward. She made things atomic, not awkward. He smiled. I didn't respond. I figured you'd want it that way. I appreciate it. Then he cracked open a beer and passed it to me. To disappointment, I smirked. To freedom. Later that night, I tucked Emma into bed. She hugged me tight, tighter than usual. Maybe she sensed something. Maybe she felt safe again. Or maybe kids just know when their world is no longer on fire. When I went back downstairs, I sat on the couch and turned on the TV. Not to watch it, just for the background noise. And then, out of habit, I picked up my phone and opened our old photo album, the digital one. There she was, smiling in front of the Eiffel Tower, laughing at the beach, holding Emma as a baby. I stared at the screen. The photos didn't hurt anymore. They didn't twist the knife. They just felt like old postcards from a country I never wanted to visit again. I deleted them. Every last one. Not out of hate. Not out of rage. Out of mercy. For myself. The next morning, I woke up early. Went for a run. Made breakfast. Laughed with my daughter. Paid bills. Played fetch with the dog. Took a long shower with no one rushing me. No one yelling from the other room about nonsense. No fake cold shoulder waiting for me when I stepped out. It hit me sometime around noon. This was peace. Not the loud kind with fireworks and closure speeches. The quiet kind. The kind that sneaks up on you and says, you made it. Through betrayal. Through heartbreak. Through years of lies. And here I was, still standing. Still breathing. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I wasn't waiting for the other shoe to drop. There was no other shoe. There was only the ground beneath me, and it finally felt solid. I wasn't the man who got cheated on anymore. I was the man who walked through hell and walked out clean. The final piece of this story didn't come with a bang. It came on a quiet Tuesday. I was in the kitchen, making lunch, just a simple sandwich, the kind she used to complain about, said it was lazy cooking. I was halfway through slicing tomatoes when I heard Emma giggling from the living room. She was FaceTiming her friend, sprawled across the couch with a big blanket and her favorite hoodie, talking about some art project. That laughter? That was the sound of healing, of stability, of finally feeling safe. And just like that, I realized I didn't miss anything. Not the way Ashley used to walk around like the house was hers alone. Not the eggshells I tiptoed on for years. Not the emotional hostage crisis I mistook for love. She was a chapter. A long, painful one. But that book was closed now. The ashes were scattered. The damage done. And yet here I stood a whole, scarred, yes, but whole. I had a daughter who looked at me like I hung the moon. I had peace. And above all else, I had me again. Later that night, I wrote something down. Not for Ashley. Not for anyone else. Just for myself. I stuck it in a drawer by the bed, behind some old receipts and socks. It said, you can love someone and still need to leave them. You can give your soul and still get betrayed. But that doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. And when you finally walk away, walk proud. Because surviving her wasn't the end of you. It was the beginning. And to any man who's reading this, sitting in the same sinking boat I once was, wondering if it's all in your head, wondering why it hurts so damn much to stay loyal in a house built on lies, let me tell you something. She's not going to change. She's not going to wake up one day and realize she broke something precious. But you can wake up. You can walk. And when you do, you'll feel like a man again, not the shadow she left behind. So don't chase closure. Be the closure. Burn the shirt. Sign the papers. Take your kid to school. Make your own damn sandwich. Laugh again. Heal. You deserve better. I did too. And now, I'm free.